Hey everyone, live once again on Ghost Talks. I have a very special guest this evening. I'm sure a lot of people know you, actually already know him. This is Dave Gibb from C.H.A.P.S. He's been around in the paranormal field for quite a long time, and I'm very happy to be able to speak with him tonight. So, without any further ado, here is Dave Gibb. Hey
Hey,
Dave,
how
how's it
you
going?
doing? Well.
Good, good, good. Okay, so tell me a little bit more about yourself, like your team, yourself, how you got started in the paranormal, and why you do this. Like, why did you get into it?
Well, I mean, I guess I've been investigating officially about 28 years now. I was raised in a spiritualist church. My mother had co-founded a church down here, so I've always been around the sort of other side of a metaphysical side of things. Now that was obviously raised in a church with all the psychics and whatnot. I don't really deal with now, but at that point in time, it was educating me on the metaphysics, the outside of orthodox thoughts. Um, when I was going into my early 20s, I was training in the martial arts, and one of my teachers lived in Gettysburg,
Okay.
and we would go out and always explore the fields at night. That was just kind of the thing you did. And obviously, I was already attuned to that sort of thing. We managed to we witnessed what looked like a lantern coming down a hill, right? And it was in an odd. It was not in your typical areas down there. We're behind a museum in a weird thicketed area, and we saw this lantern get closer and closer to the car. And then all of a sudden, it was like a flintlock pistol went off in the car. And you had the arc flash go on and the whole bit. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so, sort of ever since that point in time, actually having that physical grab, I sort of got more into the actual investigation of it. In 2005, I was living in Pembroke, Ontario, and uh, I kind of formally formed what was then what became CHAPS. Um, at that point in time, I was with the spiritualist church up there, and so we had members of the church, which isn't like a church. I think it's hard to call it a church.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were kind of my first investigators. And we started off like everybody else, investigating your own properties and barns around the area and that noise. We all kind of learned our lessons on with the first. You must remember the first time you used night shot.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden everything is a holy
Yeah.
crap, look at that, right?
Yeah.
So we learned our orb lessons early, luckily. And by our third investigation, we were on purposely creating it so that we could show that it wasn't real.
Yeah.
um,
So debunking, more or less, right?
Absolutely, right off the
Absolutely.
so the and eventually, I took a job with my company down here in the Toronto area, and opened up my office down here, kept my office up there, and we had an office in London and all that. So we were at that point in time, probably 3 years in, handling about 75 to 100 investigations a year between the offices. Got a little crazy, but that was going on for a number of years. Became part of the TAPS family, and have enjoyed that, which has allowed us to get into some places.
Yeah.
And over the years, obviously, I've made it a pretty large part of what I do to cross train, cross investigate with many other teams.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather investigate with somebody and get an opinion of them than just take what the heralded opinion is,
Yeah.
and focusing a lot on one-on-ones and teaching people to be, like, if you're going to do this, and let's talk about the pragmatic side of things, which is very much where our team sits. I don't use the science word. We're not a science team. We're a pragmatic team, right? Like
Pragmatic. Okay.
deductions and logics, and I never use the proof word. We what we all have to come to the assumption of, because everybody talks about evidence. This is what we're going to talk about tonight.
Yeah.
But we
And
all
EVPs. We're going to talk about the EVPs as well. Yeah.
evidence. So what we have to come to is the realization, of course, that what we're doing is a pseudoscience. We're yanking things out of the thin air. I probably started getting more into one-on-ones in that as a team because I was encountering teams that were basing cases off an EMF reading, which is laughable as it is because it can be caused by everything. But the point to that was in nowhere in any kind of proof or science have we decided or found out or rationalized that spirit was temperature related or electrically related. So we
Hmm.
don't know that EMF actually detects a spirit. It,
No,
it
no.
might, right? So the most tangible evidence, of course, that we can have is EMF or not EMF,
Yeah,
EVP, because it's at least something that you could kind of touch video or EVP.
yeah. So
Being
audio and video are like
oh,
the big. It's the big. I mean, that doesn't lie. If you see something levitate, it's
yeah,
on camera. That's proof. There's not, well, we're not going to use the word proof, but it's evidence. It's out of the normal, right? Now, what could be causing that? We don't know.
yeah. And in 28 years, I've got one piece of video. So I mean, I guess that should be fine. If you're doing your job correctly and you're an investigator with integrity, you probably don't really have that much real hardcore evidence. You may
No.
have some interesting bits, but like I've got on my website, I've probably got 3,000 pictures.
Yeah.
Not a single one is paranormal.
Yeah.
When
Well,
we
that's the thing. We can't like if you capture something at every investigation, that doesn't make any sense
Mhm.
because not everything is paranormal.
Right,
I think you have to be very diligent on what you actually classify as evidence, right?
very much so.
Yeah.
And realistically, you know, through the breaking down process of going over evidence, which is multi-layered. It's not just sitting down with your machine, listening to it, and it's done.
Very true.
You've got to realize that the whole statement of if it can be something, it probably is. You got to discount it. Like
Hmm.
we've done investigations where I've heard something and somebody else will hear be like, "Oh my God, that would be incredible if that was real." And somebody says, "You know what? I was near that room. That could have been me." So the minute I hear that word, it's trashed. It's done.
Yeah.
There's
As,
no, as soon
as
as
soon as there's just a shadow of a doubt, if somebody says, "Oh, that could have been me," or like you said, then that's just trash. You might as well just throw it out the window because as soon as there's a shadow of a doubt on it, you can't really put it forward as evidence.
right.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, now there are a lot of teams out there that again are basing cases on the room went down so much and then the EMF showed that there was I got a spike of like 6, so there must be I bring it back to I did a case. I did a public one night. We were doing it at an automotive museum, and the team prior to us, besides the psychic on the team talking about all the people that had been hanging by their necks all throughout the place and all the dead crawling all over the place,
Yep.
which this building was a hardware store before it was there's no history of anything. And they had gone, I'll get long winded. They had gone to a car. There was a car. And they had said, I've got to take this silly thing that keeps coming up on my screen. This car, they said a little girl had died in. And they were getting EMF readings. And I did too. Like, we used both the tri-field, which is a lot more accurate, and a K2 just to see what they were getting. And we
Yep.
had like off the charts, right? And then we found out that actually what it was that the plate that was on the car was a plate that was on the car of somebody. It wasn't the car.
Hmm.
And then we did what you're supposed to do as an investigator, I believe, and that is we traced the possibility of what this is.
Yeah.
You're in a building. So we went downstairs and we found a Potter switch for a fire suppression system directly under it. It's hardwired. And
Hmm.
that's where all the EVP was coming or EMF was coming from.
Is
So,
that one wire?
which was just right under the floor,
Yep.
right? But then, of course, they based an entire case, went in the newspapers, the whole bit, that this building was haunted, right? Uh, you know,
Now I got a quick question for you. Do you ever call a place haunted?
well, you know what? I have learned my own lessons.
Yeah.
Where you know what you become a different investigator every single year, and that's okay. Growth is growth. Are there places I would say I think are closer to maybe getting that title than others? Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
I think
Like
so.
when we did West Virginia Penitentiary, the experiences we had down there, man, I walked away from Moundsville Penn saying like, man, that place is, I can't prove it, but
Yeah.
man, Ashmore Estates is another one.
Yeah.
There are definitely places I've come from that the experiences that I've had would lend me to say, I think. But then again, I always make sure, Dan, that I say, in my opinion.
In my opinion,
In my
exactly.
opinion,
I'm just like you. Like, I hate to use the word haunted. I prefer to say active,
yeah,
or there's something going on,
yeah,
or same thing with evidence. It's not a ghost or anything. It's something unexplained. That's what I like to use. If people want to call it haunted, they want to call it, yes, it's a ghost, an entity. By all means, you can do that if you want. But like you, I'd rather not use those words and actually label stuff that way.
mhm,
Yeah.
mhm, absolutely.
So
Yeah.
keep going with your story. That I didn't mean to interrupt
Oh,
you there.
oh, I don't even know what story I'm on now. The problem is when you
We're
start.
talking about the wires in the
Yeah. So anyway, then of course the problem with that then is that ruins it two ways. I mean, one, it gets people believing something. So now you've got 40 people that walked away from a public event that they did, thinking that the whole place is haunted. And
mhm.
then the next part is when I come in there and do it, and then I say to the client, I can't find anything here that states this at all.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm an asshole after that. Pardon it, but I mean, like,
Yeah.
now I'm a jerk, and they're not considered looking at me and saying, well, let's bring him back in again to do some further research because I'm not fun. I don't
Mhm.
give you the immediate satisfaction that a
Yeah.
K2 gives you, that
Yeah.
a SLS Connect video camera gives you with the little cricket in the corner that waves at you because the
You got the
SLS,
little hands going like this
yeah,
all the
the
time, little
SLS
legs
machine
dancing.
is
Yeah.
mapping a table, and that
Yeah.
table is now waving at you because the machine itself, the algorithms are designed to pick up what could be a human figure. I
Yeah.
can't tell you how much that SLS machine makes my head blow up.
Yeah.
I had one built for me. I used it on 200 investigations, and then I sold it.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, you know what? And I did several videos on it, right? We tried to use it in different ways because we use it in the ways that everybody uses it, right? And realize that things like drapes cause it to do it. And so basically, I would put it against a blank wall and put a real live cam next to it as well. And I
Mhm.
would say, if I see a ghost or a person or whatever walking across the screen that isn't on my video camera and it's an actual animated character, I'll have more faith.
Yeah.
Of
Yeah.
course, it never happened, right?
Yeah.
And then unfortunately, what's happening is a really big trend in this stupid tool is that people now have mobile SLS. They're walking around with a gun with an SLS cam. So that little eye that spins back and forth in there that puts a laser across the room is now mapping every single door frame, every single anything that it possibly could grab onto, saying it's a human.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, because shows like I don't want to put any litigation up here, people that adventure, right? Um, you know, and then the rest of the bloody country takes it as Bible truth and says like, I've got to get one of these because I
Yeah.
can go see a ghost.
Mhm.
Um, and the unfortunate thing is that in our occupation, passion, whatever you want to call it, hobby, we have a lot of
Hobby.
things that are built for what we do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's you know, like we talked, like you mentioned earlier, that really there's only really two types. It's audio or video that I would have faith with. Um, on my side, I like using some of this equipment to test it. Is it really a valid piece of equipment in the field? Can an EMF actually, like you said, an EMF meter going off doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean there's a ghost, an entity present. It just means that there's an EMF spike. Now, for me, if I can correlate an EMF spike with an actual EVP at the exact time in the exact same location, then I may say, well, maybe there's a
Mitigating,
possibility. But it's not a, like you said, it's not Bible. It's not a definite, right? Because it's all up in the air.
all things have to be backed up by each other.
Yeah.
And and unfortunately, a lot of the tools that are out there right now for ghost hunters, I hate that word, but for what we do, are made
Yeah.
for what we do, and they wouldn't sell very well if they didn't get results on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So and some of them are made out of desperation because people want the need to get that satisfaction of contacting Uncle Bobby that just died. And
Hmm.
you're right. Audio wasn't developed for what we do. Video was not developed for what we do. I'm fine, total fine with trigger devices. I'm fine with things like your little cat balls. I've used them too, where there's a lot of mitigating evidence, right? Like you're right. If I get an EVP and on video, a cat ball that's sentient in a locked off room, all of a sudden starts going off and moving. Okay,
Yeah.
well, one more, and there's an EMF spike in that room along at the same time. Well, then that builds to it. But if I get an
Exactly. Yeah.
EMF spike on its own, no. If I get
No. No. That's.
it is what it is. Audio, now when we're going into audio, I know that like we film our video, our investigations in third person. There's
Mhm.
always somebody videotaping that pretty much stays silent, but they videotape everybody who's talking,
Mhm.
so that when I get an EVP hit, I can follow up the exact spot on video and see that somebody's tummy didn't grumble, somebody didn't whisper to their friend, or some innocuous movement that created noise happened.
Mhm.
It also comes down, and I know we're going to chat this further, to grade classification when it comes to EVP,
Mhm.
and what you're actually presenting,
Yeah.
because that's a big deal as well.
Yeah. And I think too, it's about controlled environments, right? So you want to make sure that if you're somebody's conducting an EVP in that specific location, you want to make sure that everybody who's attending the investigation is staying quiet. You never whisper at investigations. If you're going to say something, say it out loud.
Yeah.
And like you said earlier, if everybody there is silent and you have, let's say, me, you, and a woman, or a female investigator with us in the room, and we don't say anything, she doesn't say anything, but we capture a second female voice, everybody else is quiet,
Mhm.
that's credible. I mean, you got to figure out, but you still have to try to debunk it, though, to say, okay,
Yeah,
what could have possibly done that?
could it have been? Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, like analysis is really, it's funny because clients want the answer like that once you've done an
Hmm.
investigation.
Yeah.
And realistically, if you're doing it right, it should take. I always tell my clients at least 2 weeks before you're going to get not even a video produced out of the deal, but I mean, like before you get any kind of opinion from me,
Yeah.
because it's going to take that long to go over the audio, marry it to the video, right? Because that's where my team does it. Where like we do the thing, we we upload everything. We wait a day. We're not
Yeah.
listening to it right then and there because you're too jacked, you're too tired, you're too whatever.
Yeah.
So wait a day. Okay, now sit down with a copy and go over the whole audio.
Yeah.
And the person that has the audio device has got a set of headphones on, so that if they hear anything, they mark the audio so we can see that on our screen. You know that, and we'll go over it all, looking for significant spikes, voice sampling. If we hear a voice, we're going to go against who's actually on the investigation. We're going to see the level of decibels that voice actually gives off. Because I mean, the human's not talking at 2 decibels.
No.
We're going to see all that. We'll widen it out, and then what we do is we've now compared it against video. We've now gone through everything. So now we peek them off. We take out the cuts of what we think it is. We write down what we think it is. Sandy and I generally do the preliminary review. Then we send it to our team, and they can listen to all the cuts,
Hmm.
all the sound bites, and then
Yeah.
they can tell us what they think it says. And then beyond that, I'll send it to a peer team for review, and they can tell me what they think it says. So
Hmm.
we may start off with 15 hits from that investigation.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, you know what? I'm going to hear 3 or 4 of them. Debunk, forget it. That's crap. And then somebody may say, no, I think that's okay. Crap. And then we may be left with like 3.
Yeah.
And then
So I got a question for you. When you guys actually, and this is a practice that I actually took on myself, is when, let's say, if you find something on an audio recording which you think is maybe something that's not normal, an anomaly of some kind, you will make your own conclusions in your head what you think you're hearing, right? When you present this to one of your investigators, do you tell them what you're hearing, or you let them figure out for themselves what they think? Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what I do as well.
let's get an opinion. Now, the
Yeah.
unfortunate, I mean, the way the team talks, yeah, exactly. Then now, my team can all say, I think that says these things or that thing, or I can't make it out at all, and,
Yeah.
and that's fine, because what I'm going to end up wanting to present to the client I want to have legible. So now we start getting into the whole classification thing, right? So now that we've done all that, so here's how I like to present and how I like to categorize. It's alphanumeric. I didn't create this. I forget the name of the gentleman that came up with this alphanumeric quotient. But basically, if you look at, okay, let's start on the alpha, or the numeric, sorry. I guess I should call it numeric alpha. So like, like a 1C, 1B, 1A, whatever. That's how they come across, 2B. So we go through like a 1 to 4, A to D. I won't present something that is less than a 4 or a D. And even then, like the lower it goes, the less I'm going to present. So on number 1, first off, right off the bat, we don't do noises. If I hear somebody drop something, it's a noise. We generally try to stay away from monosyllabic because, if somebody goes, hi, unless it's really, really clear, I don't like those, but whatever. Yep. So A or one, getting tripped on my tongue. 1, no amplification needed at all. Yeah. Okay. It is very clear, and you could get it right off the pin, like I'm talking to you. Mm-hmm. Preferably multisyllabic. Okay. Number 2, slight amplification, like a 10% amplification is I needed to do to that file to bring it up. That's not so bad, right? 3, now we're starting to degrade a bit. Now it's a little bit of amplification, possibly a bit of hiss removal, right? Maybe. 4, I've got to rig this one just so you can hear it, but there's nothing there. So we're talking about the actual quality. Now we're going into the alpha, right? A, B, C, D. A, this is got complete congruence to, that's not even the word. I'm just making crap up. It has something to do with what I'm talking about. Hey, how old are you? I'm 24. Yeah. Okay, so it makes like a complete join to the conversation. Or, like where I'm going to find you the CVP where I've got conversations between 2 spirits. That's also interesting. Yeah, I'm going to find that, but that's like an 18-year-old file. B. All right, it's a clear word, right? But it might not have something to do with what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's a conversational thing, but but it may have another meaning, right? Got to look at it. C. It is. It's interesting. It's there. It's clear. So, but it's words. Yeah. Right. Okay. But they don't seem to make much sense. Right. Like it's ramble. Could be residual. Could be something that gets said every day at 3:30.
Yep. So you can't really make out what it's saying.
That's with a C. I can make out what it's saying, but it's has no confluence to what I'm talking about or the situation, or like I said, maybe every day at 3:30 somebody goes, dinner's on. Yeah. It's a D. A D is kind of like, look, this is something that is wasn't there. Could have been maybe a growl, maybe a mumble. Yeah. Something that basically I would go to them and say, look, what we've got here, because it could be a 1D. It could be 1, incredibly clear, but D, really have no context or wording. It's just anomalous. Yeah. So a 1C, you know what? It's got nothing to do with the conversation that we're having, but it's incredibly clear. A 2A, has complete compliance with what I'm saying, but I had to work with it a little bit in order to hear it. Yeah. So you know what I mean? So it's really just a gradient. What you want to have is a 1A, right?
Yeah, 1A is your best.
Or 1B.
1A is your best classification, right? That's like it's clear and it's pertinent to exactly what you're doing.
And, exactly. Or maybe like a 1B if it's incredibly clear, but it's like these are voices that aren't listening to me. They're just happening, but I'm not part of it. Yeah. Right. So like some of my EVPs will come back with, things playing in the background and talking to each other, but I'm not part of that conversation. That would be
Hmm.
a B. That would be a B to me because it
Yeah.
has no quantification as to what I'm saying, but it's as
Yeah.
clear as hell, right?
Yeah.
So there you go. That's
And
no.
that's a really cool way of actually doing the classifications, because that determines whether this is something that's tangible evidence, or it's something that's kind of it's iffy. We don't really know. We can't really call it evidence because there's so many factors that are so many variants. Which I think it's a great system. Actually, there's somebody here that's got a question here for you.
Oh
I think I already know what that answer might be, but I'm going to put it up on the screen here.
no,
No, that's what I figured. So,
used to.
Selena, most of us don't use psychics and mediums because we cannot validate those experiences.
I can
Um, you know,
I can go further into that. Like we
yeah.
used to. Donalda Robertson was originally with our team, and I put her through the grinds. I really did to make sure. Probably, I'll give you a couple, multiple reasons why we don't. Again, I grew up in the church that makes mediums, so
Yep.
I know a lot of the little things that they do. Two, I've been on an investigation now where we brought another team along, and they had a medium.
Hmm.
And everything, eventually by the end of the evening, the medium was telling me I had demons running up my leg. People were
Yeah.
hanging in trees outside, and it became, quote unquote, it became a shit show.
Yeah.
So I'm a pragmatic team. I'm working on that. I'm not saying that all mediums are wrong.
Hmm.
I'm just saying that the way we do things, the
Exactly.
pantheon of the way we investigate doesn't really fit in with sensitivities.
Yeah.
We're looking for evidence.
Yeah, I think I'm the same way. Like, I do believe that some people do have the knack to either, not predict the future, but maybe go on a hunch and they get a feeling. And if sometimes that feeling you might be able to validate it. But yeah, it's like that fine line between what we want to do, like you said, like pragmatic, scientific method, if you want to call it, and then it's hard to mix both together. Like you, I'm not saying these people don't have that
Mhm.
talent. I'm sure a lot of them are legit, but unfortunately, it's hard to fit in our field.
Well, and how do you validate?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like it's
Very
hard,
hard to validate.
very hard to validate. And then of course you're going to get bias syndrome, right? The minute somebody says, and if I hear that portal word, I'm going to whack my head into a brick again. But how do you validate? The minute now you're in a home, right? And you've done residentials. I've done residentials.
Yeah.
You bring that sort of element in.
Hmm.
Now they say there's a portal in your basement, and the client's there,
Yeah.
and the client hears that. It's game over.
Yeah. I know.
Like it's done. The investigation's finished because
Yeah.
now all the client's going to basically say what the medium said.
Yeah.
That's why I know when I had Donalda on our team, I always said to her, like, don't say a damn word. You come to me, whisper it in my ear,
Hmm.
and I may direct the team to. And if we get matching results, maybe.
Yeah.
But she was also in her 70s, and she had studied at some places that I was aware of. And like I said, I put her through her paces. I know everybody says with mediums, oh, they said things they couldn't have known. I assure you, they're very good at reading the room per se. They're
Hmm.
very good. I know that as a short story for that one, just so that I can get this one done. My team did an investigation at the Coburg jail with another team, and they brought a medium along, and that medium did readings for a bunch of us. And I thought, well, look, I'll play along here. I'll put my $20 down and get a reading.
Yeah.
I still have the cassette tape. Yes, it's that old. Um,
The cassette
so
tape. We don't use those anymore.
we all played our results
Yeah.
afterwards. And do you know that of six of us, five of the results were the exact same conversation?
Yeah.
We were all the same.
Yeah.
But when
That's
I will tell you, bias syndrome, I was listening to her and going, holy crap,
yeah.
he's really good. And then I went upstairs and played everybody else's tape, and I thought, damn, I got spoofed, And then because we all had the same opinion, wow, she really knocked me, she nailed us.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
we realized we were all the same person.
Yeah. Yeah.
What she did
Yeah.
was she
It's
nailed
it's
$100.
it's very touchy subject, and you know what? This is something we could probably make a whole show out of that, Dave. Like
Days.
we could probably yeah, a whole show out of that. But let's keep on track with the
EVP.
EVPs.
EVP.
Selena, thanks for your question. It was a legit question.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna ask you, like, what's your favorite for capturing EVP? What is your favorite recorder?
Hmm. Well, Definitely a recorder records in WAV format. Just before we get into brands, because MP3 condenses things too much, and that's why you don't get anything. I'm a fan of Tascam. Honestly, the DR05 is a great little workhorse.
Yeah, we got that one too.
You know what? Look, listen. I mean, I'm going to put your show on my anchor.
I got that one.
Right, exactly. You
Yeah.
know, it's a great workhorse.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Zoom. Unfortunately, I think the one thing is about Zoom is that everybody always has to get the latest model. So they spend $900 on something that really is a music recording device. Like it's meant to record 4 or 5 guys in a room, right? So it's sort of overkill for what we did, but I'm guilty. I have a Zoom H5, which is probably that's our primary device. And I've got a Zoom H2 that I use for what I call as a pick line.
Yeah.
Like you have your DVR, and I run a microphone line to somewhere and run speakers back there. So that's my sentient, right? That's my sentient audio that I just leave in one.
Yeah, actually, you actually use the same ones. Like I have the DR40, which is Tascam. I have the DR05 Tascam as well, and the Zoom H1, which is kind of the lower end model, but still very, very good recorders for capturing EVPs.
It's a dictation monitor, and it's got the Omnispheric microphone. It's great. I mean, really, you don't need to spend money on it. And I think one of the things, of course, as a team, you get glitzified by things and go, oh, shit, I want to buy that, right?
Yeah.
You see something on a show and you're like, I know that when I watched, I can't remember all the damn shows I've watched, but I saw Nick using the light up panels, proximity panels at Waverly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn. Okay, well, I know Ben Hansen, so I emailed Ben because he was on the show, and he told me where to get it. And I spent I think after customs, it was like $500 for 2 panels. Yeah, and they do what they're supposed to do. Like, anything goes over them, they light up like Christmas trees.
Yeah.
But I've never gotten a single piece of evidence with them in 5 years.
Again, it's we like our gadgets, right? But
yeah. Uh-oh. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. Uh-oh.
Hold on. I think
okay, you're back on.
I hit the USB cable of my microphone inside the laptop with my mouse.
Hey, it's going to get to be
what's going on. It's going like, whoa, stop it. What's going on?
Okay. It ended up being a very stupid show.
Yeah, it's like a mime show. It's like going back in the 1920s, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. So cool. The Tascams are excellent recorders. We're definitely on the same page with that. Now, what kind of mistakes can we tell whoever's watching right now? What are the biggest mistakes somebody could do while conducting EVPs or trying to capture EVPs?
Well, a lot of it's got to do with where you got your device to start with.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've got, I've seen people hanging it off their
no.
So now it's dragging across their clothes. I mean,
has to be stationary somewhere where nobody's touching it. Yeah.
Sometimes you are walking around, but definitely pointed outwards. If somebody's a heavy breather, don't give it to them. If somebody's a heavy cougher, don't give it to them. I mean, it's just watching it. Yeah, if you're going to be somewhere for an extended period of time, put it down. Let it sit somewhere. Don't, make sure that if something happens that sounds like it could be anomalous, tag it.
Yeah.
I mean, don't tag every noise. That gets annoying. But I mean, if somebody comes into a room, always tag when you're coming. Look, entering, just say entering the room, because you don't know when that other voice just came in.
Well, technically, when you're doing an EVP, nobody should be moving. They shouldn't be entering the room where you're conducting an EVP.
I know, sometimes if you're on a large investigation, you might be, in a room doing it, and somebody just passes through. At the very least, it's the same as when you're going to be taking a picture in the pitch dark, right? Say flash, just so people know that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
There's consideration. As far as mistakes, I think the mistakes come more in the review process, and when people own their evidence.
Yeah.
When they're doing the review process and they hear something that they believe to be paranormal, but other people disagree, or somebody has to make a final call, which on my team is me. Sorry.
Yeah.
But then they lose their shit for the next year. Well, that is absolutely an EVP. It's an EVP. Well, we can't.
I've had that problem.
We call that owning evidence, and
Yeah. Yeah.
it sounds weird, but we and I'll say it when I've got an investigator that's going over there, and I'll, like, say if we have a remote team do something, and I say, okay, well, look, go over your evidence and then send me what you need to for production, and they're like, this is an EVP, and I'll listen to it, and I'm like, it sounds like somebody dragged a rock across the floor.
Yeah.
No. See, but they own it. They
Hmm.
so that's why you have to have the peer review.
Yeah.
If my team can't figure it out, I send it to my buddy Brad Bradley, or somebody else, like somebody, just to say, let me get your thought on this one here, but
Hmm.
not somebody that's invested in giving me the answer I want to hear. If
Yeah.
I send it to somebody who's too close to me, of course they're just going to help. But I want to send it to somebody who's not going to be afraid to say, dude, it's nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's go. You sent me a couple of clips earlier of EVPs you captured. So I'll bring up the first one here and can I let you explain where this was captured. I'm just going to
Huh?
bring this up here.
Now, do you want me to say what we think it says?
No.
Or
And
okay,
let's see what people think it is. I mean, I heard it
yeah,
pretty much like you did as well.
okay,
But let's see what people think. So that's why on the video it doesn't say on the bottom; it just says unknown voice.
okay,
So see
okay.
what people. So the first one I'm gonna bring up is the you captured an EVP, and this is the I can't even if I say it. So I'm kind of stuck.
What we're
I'm stuck.
messing it up, right?
I'm stuck in a rock and a hard place right now because I have to say it. Okay, how about I just play it and then you can explain
Then
it
I'll
after.
talk about it. I'll talk about it.
Okay, so I'm gonna play the first EVP that you sent me today.
The mirror, you know?
Story behind this one. Okay,
Okay.
so in the family, we had investigated a number of times, and we got quite close to them. We go over and have dinner with them, and we gotten results from their previous investigation. They were dealing with like a big lawsuit over something, and then we got close enough that I was teaching her daughter in the martial arts, and so like then the husband died of a heart attack. And then the wife called me up and said, look, you've got to come back and do something. So
Mm-hmm.
in this particular investigation, there were three of us. In that household, it is a mother and two daughters.
Yeah.
On the investigation was me, my wife, and my niece. So it's all women except for me. I had them all, I think they were out in the back porch having a drink or something. And I went up to, I believe it was the daughter's bedroom. I put the camera to my face, as we always, if we're doing EVPs, we're always being filmed while we're talking.
Yeah.
And just started talking. And I was talking to that person. Okay. Just saying, like, your family's here. Your family's here now, and we got to get something. So I guess maybe we should be asking is what do the people out there think that says? If you
Yeah.
play that again, maybe see what they think it says.
Okay, let me play it again there. If I can find it, where'd it go? Okay, so here is the EVP again for whoever's listening.
The mirror, you know?
I hear exactly what you hear. So it's to me it's pretty clear.
Is it anybody having?
That's what I'm looking at the comments here.
Come on, comment, people.
Comment. Actually, there's a one question here by Heath. Question: have you been to a place where you were certain there was a presence?
Where I'm certain of a personal feeling.
Well, I guess maybe that there was a presence, like you were in a place and you were sure that there was like an entity or a spirit in the place.
Sure, I've come out of places where I'm like, I really, really think there's some activity happening there for sure.
Mhm.
For
So
sure.
you have had that where you know there's something there,
Yeah.
or else you wouldn't be doing if you never capture anything, it's no fun, right? You got to
Yeah,
at least
no, I
capture
never
some
did.
stuff.
So maybe we'll talk to this one there. Okay. So and I'll have you play it again after I say it.
Yeah.
Okay. So the second voice is what you're hearing there. And again, I'm in the room, and anybody can go on to my website, and I've got all the videos there. Go to my YouTube channel. And I'm asking, actually, the longer version of it is basically like I'm sitting here now, there's a mirror over there. You could show yourself. And all of a sudden you hear is, take me home, or I want to come home.
Hmm.
Take me home. I played that for the wife, and she lost her mind because, and I, but it's like, well, I was really close to it because I also knew this guy.
Yeah.
So, and I knew the voice, and that blew me right out of my seat.
Yeah.
My wife heard it first and screamed. Like, she was doing the review. She screamed downstairs. I was just downstairs having a coffee, and she's like, "Get up here!" And she played that for me, and I just gobsmacked.
Yeah. And you said you were the only male there, and obviously
only
you're not the one that said it. So
No.
who
And
did?
I'm on video.
Yeah.
Like, I'm on video. You see me saying what I say,
Mhm.
and then it's
You
right.
hear the voice after, yeah,
Well, not on video. It only
but not
came
on
up.
video, only on the audio.
That's right.
Yeah.
So play it again. See if they can hear "Take Me Home" or.
Okay. Here comes the EVP once again.
The mirror,
No, to me that's pretty clear.
Yeah.
I would probably classify this like I'm not as detailed as you are for classification. I either go A, B, or C.
Yeah.
A, it's audible, and you can actually you know what it's saying, and it's very clear. So to me, that's a class A. I mean, to me, when I heard it today, I said, yeah, that says take me home. That's what I heard.
Even if you take a look at the oscilloscope or whatever we want to call it, like,
Yeah.
voice signature I had was like voice. And then that, which was just as loud as my voice, was like 2 decibels.
Yeah.
So it was definitely anomalous, and it didn't show up on the video.
Mm-hmm.
So it was pretty clear.
Yeah. To me, it was clear as well. Okay, so you sent me 3 today. So let's go to the next one that you sent me here, and we'll go over that one. So this I'm not gonna say it. So we'll see. I'll just play it, and then you can explain where you caught this one. So here comes the second EVP.
Well, I talked to that. So, okay, well, we're not talking about what they said yet.
No.
So this was at a residential case where a child had been murdered. The person, by the way, that murdered the child never did stand trial, never did get charged. Arrested, yes. Child was beaten and then thrown down the stairs. Okay, 7, 8 years old.
Terrible.
So when we were doing the investigation of the home, we were appealing to a child spirit. So we were playing games. I had Boo Bear, the $900 stuffed animal. I had everything everywhere, and we were downstairs, not upstairs, because we didn't want to like freak out the child. So we had an audio up in the parents' bedroom. We were downstairs saying, okay, we're playing hide and seek now. We're going to come get you. Let's go. Come on. And we're coming up the stairs. And then with that came up. And now if you play it again, maybe that was harder.
Yeah, it's a little harder. I actually had a bit of problems trying to figure this one out compared to the other ones. The third one I'll show that's a given. That's as clear as day. This one I had a few problems with though, but I'll play it again and let's see what people think.
Right.
It's there, but again, I think I'm somewhat biased because
you know what it says.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the thing that kind of can throw you off sometimes.
I think for anything, it has context on what we were doing. I know if you're having comments or not, I don't know, but if like you listen, if you end up playing it, we'll play it again. Listen for the words "can't find me." Remember that this is in relation to the fact that we're playing
hide and seek. Okay, let's play it again. See. We'll bring it up one more time. Yeah, no, especially if it's in the context that you were playing hide and seek, it would make sense that a child who was murdered in that house would say something like that.
It is what it is, right?
Yeah.
Like it's certainly, and we've had other ones there where we had Boo Bear doing the count, where it was 1, 2, 3, and then all of a sudden you hear a 4. You know what I mean? Which
Yeah.
Boo Bear counts to 3. So we've had a few EVPs come out of that location. One day I'll have to send you a whole stream of EVPs.
And this one was where again? This location?
This is in Bowmanville.
Okay, Bowmanville. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so we had a comment from Andrew here who said he says it sounds like a woman. I think it's more like a child to me, but
Well, I see it as a child. It was a 7-8-year-old that passed away, little boy.
yeah.
But I mean, little boy doesn't have as deep and charming as a voice as I have. I'm like 3 feet tall. I don't have that.
We haven't met yet, so I don't know. I see you as a 6 foot tall type of guy.
I'm a gnome.
Okay, so we have actually Andrew commented. He said he thinks it sounded like "come get me," but that's close.
Oh, could
Come
be.
get me, can't find me. It's very close. So he got the gist of it to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And he didn't know your story at first, so he just clued into this by himself. Come get me. Perfect.
Yeah. So,
and here's Selena actually commented, "Help find me."
Could be.
So again, very close to what in the context of what you were doing, which is pretty cool.
We've done that house 4 or 5 times now. We go back on a semi-regular basis.
Great. Okay.
And we do get results each time.
Perfect. Okay, so we got a third one here. We might go over 8 o'clock. I don't care. I'm enjoying myself right now. So it's supposed to be a 1-hour show, but what the hell, we always go overboard. Doesn't matter. Okay. Okay. Third one here. Well, this one, I think we're not going to say anything, but we'll play it and we'll see what you can explain it after. Okay. So this is a 30 VP that Dave sent me today.
Have your people listen and see what they think. I have to jump out of the room for 8 seconds.
Okay, I'll play it again for them.
That way they can get what they think.
Okay. All right, guys, I guess maybe Dave has to go for a bathroom break. I'm not sure. But anyways, I'm going to play this for you guys one more time, this third EVP that Dave sent me today. Okay, so I'm not going to say anything about this EVP. I'll wait for Dave to come back so he can explain to you guys where he caught this and under what circumstances this EVP was captured. Actually, I already got a couple of people here that already know. They've already commented. Okay. We have Andrew said kids wailing. Selena said kids. So I think, and over here, Heath as well said kids. Sounds like a kid. Parents talking, kids singing, kids. Yeah, everybody clued into the same thing.
Okay, so here's the story behind this one here, and I'll just say it, right? Because you've obviously got your answer. And thank you thank you for the Tim Hortons disease break.
That's what I figured.
It could have happened right here.
Hey, it's a natural process, Dave. When you got to go, man.
Okay, so we're at a place called. Your people can look up my videos of it. They can look it up online. It's a pretty famous place in the States called Ashmore Estates. It's in Illinois.
Yeah.
This is a place that we go to on a semi-regular. They have cabins there. We investigate 24 hours a day for 2 or 3 days in a row. Ashmore Estates, I forget the county, but anyway, it used to be the county poorhouse. Okay. It was obviously you didn't have a job, couldn't afford your family, so they all stayed there. It became an old folks' home, all kinds of crap like that. We've got tons of evidence from this place. We went full bore on this one too. Like we were set up with 3 DVRs. We were everything.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, so let me set the stage. This was on the static microphone that we had set up on the 3rd floor. There's 3 floors of the building. we are in the ready room. So the adult voices that you're hearing, you have a sensitive machine. We're in the basement, like we're in the lunch room, whatever you want to call it, just talking. There was nobody out. We just had statics going, right? So that way, it wasn't us causing noise. So kids playing. This was interesting because Ashmore Estates, A, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. B, Ashmore Estates is in the middle of a farmer's field.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the middle of a cornfield. If you look at my first video of Ashmore, I run a drone over it. And you can see that the closest house is a farmhouse about 800 meters down the road. And that's it. And in talking to the owner, he's got teenage kids.
Mm-hmm.
Now all of a sudden I've got several voices of children playing in the building at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Doesn't make any sense.
It just doesn't make any sense.
No, that doesn't make any sense.
If you were at the investigation, it would make a lot more, like, it would be a lot more interesting because you'd be like,
what the hell is that?
You think we would have noticed 4 or 5 kids running around the building.
Yeah.
It really wasn't that big.
Yeah.
So that was interesting for us. In that particular location, we've got piano keys being played. There's no piano in the room. There was in that room. We've gotten a number of voices out of that place.
Yeah.
Fantastic. In daytime and nighttime, we're getting, it's a great place to do because you're getting evidence during the day, which of course would be when a lot of people would be active in that building. Really fantastic location. If any investigators out there ever get a chance, Ashmore Estates, Robin Terry is like the most incredible host. The man spent.
Are you anticipating going back to this location, Dave?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So maybe you can take me with you.
I mean, absolutely.
That kind of evidence, I want to actually be part of that.
Yeah, it's a drive. Yeah. It's a drive. Like it's
how far is it to that location?
I'm thinking it's between 13 and 14 hours to get there.
Yeah, that's a long drive.
And it's right off the bat, it'll sound like it's a pricey location because say for a weekend it's about $1,600. But now, first off, you break that down. Second, he's got cabins that have air conditioning, TVs, beds, fridges on site. He's got shower, kitchen, ready room, and already has DVR lines run through all the floors. So all you got to do is hook up your base unit.
Yeah.
And he's got a nice fire pit outside. He's got a barbecue there. Like he's basically set you up for the minute you're there. You can investigate, and we did. Like we had people sleeping in shifts, 24 hours a day for 2 or 3 days. You're investigating.
Yeah.
And
that's awesome.
Like that's
at least for 2 or 3 days. It's an experience, right? Especially if you're going to go out that far, you're going to spend a little bit more time there. Obviously, yeah.
And most places that you spend, I don't know, say $400 to rent.
Yeah.
You're there for 4 hours, right?
Yeah.
And anywhere here in Canada, for some ungodly reason, unlike in the States where that place goes vacant and they hold on to it by a historical society and say, hey, you know what, we can rent this out for tours and events and whatever. Up here, we whack it down.
Yeah.
We'll put no trespassing signs on it. So unfortunately, finding locations of that nature in Canada is a real hard gig.
Yes, I totally agree with that one.
Closer to Toronto, you get too. Like, out your way, you can do Cornwall Jail and all that. Although Cornwall Jail used to be $50, now it's like $500.
Yeah, I looked into that one as well. It's getting pricey, but I mean, they got to get some money somehow. I mean, most of these places they base it on donations, and that's how they keep the place going, right? I actually had a comment here about the kids in the field, and this is what Selena had to say.
I think they were actually in the building because they might have just been outside. Who knows where they were? They could have been
just the fact that you were hearing because it does sound like it's a lot of kids playing around. And why would you have kids playing around at 3 o'clock in the morning in the middle of the field? It doesn't make any sense.
Frankly, let's pretend that this was 2 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
There's 8 of us at this location, sometimes outside barbecuing, whatever.
Yeah.
It's not like you're going to have 5 random kids all of a sudden show up at this cornfield. It's not like Children of the Corn, a freaking Stephen
Yeah.
King movie, right? They're
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
coming out of the stocks,
Yeah.
or maybe they are. Yeah. So regardless of time of day or night, very innocuous.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure we would have noticed it.
Yeah. You would have for sure.
We're
For sure.
not that dumb.
Yeah. I plead the fifth. I'm not
Maybe.
gonna say. I'm not gonna say anything about myself. Okay, so we got those are really good captures, Dave. Like seriously, these are I guess for me, I'd consider those class A's for sure. Okay, now I did tell you I was going to bring up a couple of some of the EVPs that we captured, and I want to get your input on these ones. So I'm going to bring up the first one here that we captured, and this, of course, these were actually all at the Ottawa Jail Hostel.
Okay.
So I'm not going to say anything about this one. I'm just going to play it, and whoever's listening in can actually determine what they think it says, and I'll let you determine what you think it is, Dave. So I'll play it right now.
Well, for me, I may hear different than what you hear. I mean, I could hear actual sentient voices, obviously.
Yeah.
And then I hear about halfway through, sounds female to me, little burblish. I can't make out what it's saying.
Yep.
It's a completely different tone. Also, the actual spike to the audio isn't high enough to be a voice to me, like a sentient voice.
Yep.
And I thought I heard something near the end as well.
Yeah. So I'll play it again for you. So it is towards the end. I don't know if you can see it. It says on the bottom, unknown voice. So at least there you'll know where to listen for it.
Yeah, the voice has kind of an echoey echo chamber sound to it there, and obviously it's where you've got the spike. You've got your mark there. If I think I'm right, I don't know what it's saying. Obviously, you're going unknown yourself. I hope maybe I might have pointed out something else on that for you there too. If you can hear even, like I said, a quarter way in, it sounds like a collection of light, childlike sounds, maybe, but like higher pitch. Anyway,
yeah.
To me.
Well, we captured this actually at this time. We weren't even really investigating. We had just put a recorder inside one of the jail cells, and we were setting up. And I was just on the opposite side of the death row, kind of talking to investigators. So you kind of hear me talk in the background. That's a given. And then when we reviewed the footage towards the end, which is the where it says unknown voice, from what I see is I caught a woman saying, "Come back."
Okay, play it again now.
Play it again, and now you're going to be biased, but at least you might be able to maybe.
Or I might be able to tell you I don't hear it.
Hold on. Okay, I'm going to play it again here.
I did hear where "come back" came through. It was actually before that mark that you've got there.
Yeah,
I did hear that. So now I'm definitely hearing what you're saying.
exactly. Yeah.
What I would say is, now that I'm being rational and thinking about it, and I love break time audio. Where you basically just put it down and let it go. Why would anybody on your particular team be saying that? I mean, if you're all together, who's over there saying "come back"?
Yeah, there was nobody else in that cell because there was the death row was actually closed off the public. We had the whole floor, and we were all together, the opposite end of the of death row, and the recorder was just left in that cell. And when we reviewed it, we went, but
I mean, it's obviously also kind of like my last one there with the kids. It's also in context, right? Like you were there, and when you're there and you're like, there was nobody there, and so really you're going to know the most.
Like you said, if unless you're at that investigation, like me with the kids in the field, it's different, right? Unless you're actually there, it gives you, it's just like you were there and you know that it's
Yeah.
impossible because you were there at that location. And you said, there's no way there's going to be kids in this field at
Nope.
3 o'clock in the morning.
Nope. Not
Okay.
10 miles from town.
Yeah. So I'm going to play another one here for you. This is, well, I'm just going to play it, but I mean, it's pretty much a given. Now, I would probably classify this as residual, but I'll play it for you right now. I'll explain how we caught it after.
Yeah. That's in a jail.
Yeah. Yeah. The weird thing is we had DVR cameras, like, you know how death row shape, it's like a square, right?
Yeah.
So you have, we had a camera this way, that way,
Yeah.
monitoring every hallway. And at the time I had an investigator with me, Tracy, and she actually got scared. She goes, holy shit, we heard the door slam. So we went back on the DVR footage to look if we could see a door move. There's not a single door that moves, and we're alone on this floor. So where's the sound coming from? And it's definitely not coming from the bottom floors, because you know the jail hostel, it's like all brick and cement. You're not going to hear a door from the bottom floor. So this was definitely coming off a death row, but we're going, nobody opened the door, nobody slammed the door. So where's it coming from?
Yet you actually got a metallic hinge noise and a slam.
Yeah.
Really fantastic. And I completely forgot that this was also at that location, because I was saying we've done a few jails. And obviously, if you've ever investigated jail or been in jail, I've never been in jail myself, but I've investigated a few jails.
Yeah.
You know that noise. It's absolutely it's imprinted in your brain, because it sits in you. Like if you've ever sat in a cell and had that happen. But you know,
and that would have been like common at a jail. I mean, somebody being locked in and then boom, that door just slams. Now, the weird thing is, when we talked to the tour guide there was a girl that did tour for the Ottawa jail hostel, not the haunted walks, but the actual jail hostel. And she had said that at one point, you know where Wayland's cell is in the middle? They used to have doors at opposite ends, so you couldn't go to Wayland's cell. But these doors would actually close and lock people in by accident.
Good.
So they took the doors off. So we thought, well, maybe we're capturing that residual energy or residual sound of these doors slamming, but the doors aren't there anymore. You know,
That's great.
it was a theory that I had, but
That's great.
it was kind of cool. It was a good capture. We were so it just left us like, okay, what the hell just happened?
What's fantastic about that is that most times, you know, when we get residual, generally it's a voice or something.
Yeah.
Like that. But the fact that like you've got such a clear noise that is absolutely complementary to where you were.
Yeah.
That's great. That's
great. So I'll play. This is a similar kind of EVP. This will be the last one. Very similar, but different sounds. I'll play it for you right now. And again, it's just there was nothing moving.
You checked your DVR and everything for that? That sounds like a chair. That sounds like a chair moving across the ground for me.
Yeah, it could be a chair as well. We thought maybe it was a cell door, because we tried some of the cell doors at the hostel, and some of them actually make that kind of noise.
Okay.
But again, we went back to the DVRs and we're going, okay, there's no doors moving. So where's that sound coming from?
I mean, it's definitely a metallic against something. So
yeah, that's what we thought. Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So this, I mean, it's cool. EVPs now. I mean, it's 8:07. So what would be your advice to somebody who is, let's say, new to the paranormal field? And of course, what are they going to start doing first? They're going to start capturing EVPs, right? That's usually the first thing you do. Is going to be a recorder and a video camera. Mm-hmm. What would be your advice to somebody who's just starting out collecting EVPs? What are the do's and don'ts?
Well, just the do's and don'ts of things is just when you're listening, you know, listen with a skeptical mind, listen with a logical mind. And you know, like absolutely, when you're doing your audio preview, you know, write down all the hits. Sit down and kind of go, oh wow, I got like 11 hits here. A hit for me is like an anomalous noise.
Yeah.
Then definitely make sure you've got video backup for it. Make sure that you're videotaping. I don't videotape down a hall if I'm talking about something down a hall. I have somebody down the hall videotaping back at me. Okay, talking about it so that they can see what I'm doing. I'm the one making noise. And don't get too jacked about it right off the bat. Don't be afraid to send, like do your breakdown and make your samples and send it to a bunch of people and be prepared to have them say, I can't hear what you're saying, what you hear. It makes no sense to me. And so try not to own your evidence. Try not to, just immediately look for something as paranormal. It'll be so much more satisfactory. Have much more satisfaction. Damn it, my English is terrible. Hey, and I'm the English guy. I'm the Anglophone. I should be talking great English. So, if you're prepared to go in an investigation and have no results, and then when you take those 15 hits and you're left with one result, one thing that you cannot debunk, you've gone over video, it's as clear as hell. You've had 5 people come up with basically the same answer, and then you can present that to the client. That's some satisfaction to it.
Yeah.
But accept the fact that, look, my team, we record our investigations as in how many. So we've got 3 coming up. So that's going to be number 503, 504, and 505. 500 investigations that we've done as a team. 500 audio files. I've got 20 investigations that I could say something came out of it. I've got 10 investigations where I could be like, those are great EVPs. And there were 4 investigations out of 500 where I could be like, you know what? I would pay thousands to go back to that place.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Or I'd love to spend a week there. Or real. I mean, because it's just that rare. Understand that if you're spending 10 years doing what you're doing and you get results a couple times, you're probably doing your job right.
Yep.
If you're investigating and every single time you investigate you get results, you're not doing your job.
No, you're not going to capture everything at every single investigation. That's why you have to push away all those little sounds, little scrapes, little noises and stuff. If you can't classify it as something legit and it's very clear, then you got to toss it out, or else that's what happens at every investigation. You capture something, and it just doesn't happen that way.
And always remember that it's in the beholder, right? Like, you being the first person that picks it out, you're probably going to hear it more than anybody else. Don't convince somebody what it is. You know what I mean? When you give it to the client, you say to them, like, don't ever use that proof word. Proof word, that's where teams should come after you.
Yeah.
But, you go there and say, look, I couldn't debunk this. You take it for whatever value it is. I'll give you my opinion.
Yeah.
I think there could be some activity in your home. I think there's a strong possibility. I don't think that there's any activity in your home. I think you're bananas. I think you need to go see a doctor. Whatever. I mean, but
so you can't say yes, your place is haunted. Yes, this is proof. Yes, this is definite evidence. I do the same thing. It's like, listen, this is what I caught. We tried to debunk it. We put it through the hoop to find out what it may be. Maybe we tried to look at every possible natural causes. This is what we have. You can make your own conclusions.
Yeah. And then you say to them, look, this may be a reason for us to come back and do a follow-up. And now
exactly.
Focus on that floor, that room, that whatever, that line of questioning, whatever.
Yeah, true. So, okay, so we had talked a little while back. I would really love to do investigations with you, Dave, because I think we're on the same page. We had talked about Fort Henry at one point, about doing Fort Henry maybe sometime in the spring. Mind you, you mentioned to me today, maybe with Parks Canada, they're not going to allow it because of COVID-19. This is something I'd still would love to do with your team, for sure.
Sure. I think, we could look into spring or fall. I think a lot of teams right now, mine included, are going through a little metamorphosis. Right? Like the amount of bodies we have, the amount of
same thing here.
Lost the gut feeling to do it. People may be too worried to go out and do it. So let's just say that love and feeling isn't quite there. So, it might be something for a couple months and see how things work out because and money's tight with everybody too. And that they charge a bunch.
It's a lot of money. Yeah.
And anything Parks Canada is going to cost a lot. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And I know that you've got a lot of connections with places out in the Ottawa area, which is
Hmm.
fine for us too, because my grandkids are up there, so you
Yeah,
know we come up that way. I'm all over it,
yeah.
so we can both work towards finding a location uh,
Hmm.
to investigate for
Yeah,
sure.
that'd be great. I would love that. I'm actually, I'm in contact with a friend of mine. We kind of became friends. Larry Lawson from Florida. He's a part of the Florida Bureau of Paranormal Investigations. He wants me to come down to Florida and do an investigation there. I said, well, if I do, it's going to be sometime in January or February, so I can get the hell out of Canada for
Yeah,
that month.
that'd be awesome.
So though, yeah, and there's a couple of places that I'd still want to do in the States. I don't know if you heard about this one. Is the Edinburgh Asylum, or they call it the Edinburgh Manor in Iowa. We were supposed to do that one a little while back. It just didn't pan out. I would love to be able to do that one with you. It's a great place, and they don't charge very much. I think it's 225 for the night,
Oh, really?
for the
Yeah,
whole night. You can stay there all night.
there are some winners in the states, like where it's getting there, but like they haven't gotten the popular bug yet, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like if you're gonna go do Waverly, you're going to be paying a lot of money, right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
And I've done Waverly, so I
yeah.
can tell you, um, you know, most of the places in the states are going to run you between 800 and 1,500. But there are some smaller locations like Wildwood and those sort of places, which are about 300 bucks.
Yeah.
It's well worth it. What do you talk about there in Ohio? Old folks home down there. Damn it, I've got to think about it now.
Mhm.
There's a litany of places we can do, and places that I don't mind redoing either because I'm always
Mhm.
about to return. Um, for sure, yeah. There's places I'm all for it. I mean, obviously we got to wait till. Well, we got to give a little bit more indication as to how things are going to happen, or is the world going to blow up? I don't know if Russia's going to like send a nuclear missile our way, or we're going to get like the Theta variant or whatever, and we'll all be dead in the next 4 months, or if our government will allow us to leave our homes, or if
Yeah.
we'll all have jobs, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
uh,
I think right now everything's so up in the air with COVID. I mean, it's I think we're all getting a little stir crazy. Like
I am getting this.
well, you know what? I'm not even gonna get into the COVID conversation because this
No,
could last another hour.
you have it.
I just want to go back to normal.
Yeah,
Safely, do it safely, but I want to be able to do things, go out, investigate, go to these great locations, participate with other teams. But yeah, do it safely. I'm totally for
yeah,
that.
and that's
Yeah.
definitely in the plans. But we should look at that kind of stuff for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so you know what? I'd love to investigate with you, and I thank you so much for spending the time to speak with me tonight. I'm sure this was a great show. Actually, it was super. We're actually over by 15 minutes. So thanks again, and we'll be in touch, and hopefully we can do some investigations together.
Awesome, brother.
All
Have a
right.
good night.
You too, Dave. Thanks again. Have a good
Ciao.
night. Bye. Okay, guys. So this was Dave Gibb from C.H.A.P.S, which stands for Canadian Haunting and Paranormal Society. Dave has been around for quite a long time in the field, and I am looking forward to doing some investigations with him in the future, hopefully in the spring and fall. So keep checking our page. Here's the link to our YouTube channel. So if you guys want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, please follow the link down on the bottom and click subscribe to the Ghost page. So keep checking the Facebook page, keep checking the YouTube page. We'll have some investigations coming up shortly, hopefully in the spring and fall, as long as this COVID-19 thing breaks and we can actually get out and do our thing. So guys, I got a couple more comments here. I'll stay on for a bit. I apologize for the people commenting that I didn't get a chance to say hi to all of you. So I'm just going to look at the comments here to see if you guys had any further questions. I know there was a lot of comments on the EVPs as far as, the slam. The Selena said there was a chair and keys. I think Andrew said chair squeaking. I think Dave said there was a possibility that the squeaking might not be a door, cell door, but maybe a chair sliding on the floor, which is a big possibility. Paul Wang, I don't see the link to the video, but I'll have a look at it later. Heath, thanks again for the comment. Table of chair. Actually, Brandon, I think that's a great comment. Doubt first and prove after. So yeah, you never jump to conclusions when doing investigations. Always try to debunk as much as possible, and then in the end, maybe you're left with something paranormal. So I think that's a good comment. Selena, thanks again for joining in. You're one of our top fans. You're always there and you're always supporting us. So thanks again for tuning in tonight, Selena. Okay. I'm just looking at the comments here. Always a huge interest in certainly Charlie. Brandon, yes. I think, yeah, I think in a lot of us actually probably had experiences as a child. I mean, I know for me, that's how I got into the paranormal. Was a lot of experiences I had when I was a kid, and eventually I had other experiences as an adult. And eventually I said, well, I want some kind of validation, so I'm going to form my own team and do investigations just to get the bottom of it. So great that you had an interest since childhood. I hope you keep pursuing it, Brandon. And yes, being a skeptic is a very important thing. And when you're doing paranormal investigations, you need to keep an open mind, but being skeptic is very important as well. Sorry, I think I'm losing my voice. Maybe I'm just talking too much. Okay, so Andrew, thanks again for joining us. Christine, thank you. Selena and I'm just checking the comments. Great show, guys. Thanks for the compliment, Heath. It was a great show. There we go. Andrew, have you ever had something hiss at the jail? No, Andrew actually never had somebody or something hiss at the jail. I'm assuming you're talking about the Ottawa Jail Hostel. No, not really. That's something I've never experienced at the Ottawa Jail. Brandon, you said that would love to DM if you ever get the time, buddy. DM, you mean have a private conversation, Brandon? Could you specify? Thanks, Selena, for the compliment. I try to bring you a good show as much as I can, and I try to have good guests on. Dave Gibb being one of them. Larry Lawson was my first guest for 2022. Dave was my second. Now, I want to mention I have other guests coming up, some ghost talk shows with other great investigators from other teams that are local. Next month, not this month, which will be February 26th, I have Mark and Cheryl from the Night Watchman Investigative Team, husband and wife duo. They will be on together on Ghost Talks Live on February 26th. I'll be posting what topics we'll be talking about, so keep checking our page for details. Yeah, Brandon, if you want to have a conversation, I'm not sure about what, but yeah, I'm all for that. Okay. All right. So that pretty much takes care of all the comments. I'll stay on for another 5 minutes or so in case somebody has some more questions. Now, we have, like as mentioned, there's going to be a lot of investigations coming up. I do have potentially 2 private residences that we might be doing. We're presently looking into it at the moment. Dave is on the comment list. Dave, it was a great show. I had a great time. That's probably why it went overboard. I hope I can have you on again. Absolutely, this was just an amazing show. EVPs, electronic voice phenomena, is an amazing topic. It plays such a big part in our field. So yeah, I totally enjoyed it. So let's do this again. All right, guys. So I am gonna sign off. Okay, so hold on. Don't forget to check our YouTube channel. The banner's going on the bottom of the screen. Please subscribe to our channel for more great Ghost Talks live feeds and also other great videos. Also, live streamed investigations from pretty much all our investigations are going to be live streamed from now on. So every time we investigate a location, unless it's a private residence, which doesn't get live streamed, these locations will be live streamed for you to view over Facebook and our YouTube channels. Sorry if I'm losing my voice, my throat. Into less topics covered. Absolutely, Dave. I'm sure we'll come up with some new stuff for sure. So Andrew is asking, does your group also just investigate haunted items beside houses? I don't know, Andrew. I don't know if I would base a whole investigation around a haunted item. Um, I don't know. I've never actually. I think we did one investigation where the investigation was based around a potentially haunted item, but I don't think I've ever actually based a whole investigation on one specific item. Usually, it'll be mostly haunted locations, houses, private residences. That's what we really look into. I've actually had people ask me, "Okay, do you look for UFOs and then Bigfoot and all that stuff?" No, not really. I mean, it's still something that's paranormal because it's hard to explain, but it's not something that I'm into, and I just don't have the time for it. So Ghosts itself actually specializes in mostly hauntings of locations or homes. That's what we do. That's our main focus. Sorry, guys, if I feel this sound a little hoarse right now. I'm losing my voice. My throat's a little just raunchy. All right. So I'm going to sign off, guys. Thanks again for tuning in to Ghost Talks Live. Don't forget to join us again on February 26th as I sit down with Mark and Cheryl from the Night Watchman Investigative Team. So I'm going to just go to my little closing thing here. Perfect. Okay, guys, thanks again for joining in on the Ghost Talks live feed. And I will see you next time on February 26th with special guests Mark and Cheryl from the Night Watchman Investigative Team. Have a good night, guys. Stay safe.